What's going on, everybody? My name is John. You're watching Super Positive Games, and guess what? The 2025 Game Awards just happened a couple days ago. And so I'm here to break down everything that went down at the 2025 Game Awards, the annual show. Lots of cool announcements, lots of great music performances, and lots of course, award winners. So we're going to go through it all. It's my thought that the awards are more important than the announcements at the Game Awards. No matter how exciting those announcements may be, we wouldn't have the Game Awards without the actual awards themselves. And so we'll be starting off with the awards, and we'll move on to the announcements later. If you're only interested in the announcements, I'll leave a little timestamp in the description so you could jump straight to that. First, the Esports Awards really quick, and then we'll get into all of the other awards. So, Esports Awards, the best esports team was Team Vitality. The best esports athlete was somebody named Chovy. Best esports game, Counter-Strike 2. And the content creator of the year, Moist Critical. Player's Voice Award, which is the one award at the Game Awards that's 100% entirely voted on by fans and all the gamers out there. This one was a strange one this year. The nominees they cut it down from, I believe, 30 games, cut it down to 5 nominees, and those nominees were Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which I'll be saying a lot. That's a game title I'll be saying a lot throughout the first half of this video. Dispatch, Genshin Impact, Hollow Knight, Silksong, and Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves was the Player's Voice winner this year. Strange, considering, some of the other games like Expedition, Hollow Knight, Silksong on there, that Wuthering Waves won. It's like, it's kind of like a mobile gacha game. And I guess the players showed up for that one, and you beat out 2 absolute juggernauts, and Dispatch, which is also was very highly praised narrative adventure game that came out, I believe, in November last month. So yeah, congrats, Wuthering Waves on the Player's Voice. Another interesting category, which is kind of one that looks ahead to next year and beyond, the most anticipated game. The nominees were 007 First Light, Grand Theft Auto 6, Marvel's Wolverine, Resident Evil Requiem, and The Witcher 4. Obviously, the winner here is Grand Theft Auto 6. I believe it was the winner 2 years ago. It wasn't nominated for this category last year because the same game can't be nominated 2 years in a row. I'll have to check my facts on that, but I'm pretty sure that's correct, and I'm pretty sure it won before at the Game Awards for this category. And it'll probably win a lot of other categories next year and in years to come. We'll see what happens there. But obviously, the clear winner here. Now, if GTA 6 wasn't in this category, my pick would have been Resident Evil Requiem. I'm very excited for that game. In just a couple months, really 2 months from now, I'll be sinking my teeth into the next mainline Resident Evil not franchise game. I love Resident Evil, super excited for that. But yeah, congrats Grand Theft Auto 6 for being the most anticipated game. Up next, the best adaptation. So a TV or movie adaptation. The nominees were a Minecraft movie, Devil May Cry, Splinter Cell Deathwatch, The Last of Us Season 2, and Until Dawn. Out of all these, I only saw a Minecraft movie and Until Dawn. I am actually pretty stunned that Until Dawn made it here with a nomination. Because, it's not a good movie at all. I did actually I kind of enjoyed it for like the first half of it, and then the second half of it really just falls off a cliff. Don't know why it's here. Minecraft movie, I definitely understand why it's here. I actually kind of liked it a bit. But The Last of Us Season 2 is the best adaptation in 2025. So shout out to that. Best multiplayer game. Arc Raiders, Battlefield 6, Elden Ring, Night Rain, Peak, and Split Fiction. I only played Battlefield 6 and Night Rain, but I believe I gave my vote to BF6. However, that didn't matter because Arc Raiders won Best Multiplayer. Not surprising considering all the buzz that the game had since its October Halloween release. I wanted to play it, but there were so many games that were coming out that I was catching up on through October and November that I prioritized over Arc Raiders. But I hear nothing but incredible things about the game, and it's good enough to win Best Multiplayer Game. I was pulling for BF6, but there you go, Arc Raiders. Next, the Best Sports / Racing Game: EA Sports FC 26, F1 25, Mario Kart World, Rematch, and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Here I was really pulling for Rematch to win the Best Sports / Racing Game. I absolutely adore Rematch. It stole my entire summer. I could not get enough of the game. I was like addicted to the game. It's this third person soccer game from the developers of Sifu, and it's so much fun because the ball, like unlike in like FIFA games, the ball's not magnetized. It's kind of just like loose. And so you really need to like, know some moves and be really precise with your passes, with your shots, the ball handling. It is probably going to be one of my favorite games of the year. And so I was really hoping that it would win the category. I also played Sonic Racing Cross World. It's Sonic Racing all across the world. But Mario Kart World took the award home as the best sports / racing game. The Nintendo Switch 2 launch title itself. So there you go. Best sim strategy game: Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles, Jurassic World Evolution 3, Sid Meier's Civilization 6. Yes, that's a 6. No, 7, actually. Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Tempest Rising, The Alters, 2 Point Museum. I'm not a huge sim strategy guy, but out of all these, The Alters definitely had my eye throughout the year. Earlier, I believe it came out in June. However, I never got around to playing it. I had too many other games going on, and if I didn't, I would have absolutely jumped into that. But Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles is your best sim strategy game of 2025. Congratulations. Best family. It's funny that, a lot of these categories, like best multiplayer, best fighting, best family, many of them don't say game. So it doesn't say best fighting game, best multiplayer game. It just says best fighting, best multiplayer. And that's true for best family. Who was the best family this year? They're out there somewhere, but these nominees were Donkey Kong Bonanza, Lego Party, Lego Party, and I yelled that because it has an exclamation point in the title, and when I see that, I scream it to make sure that the studio, publisher, developers know that punctuation in game titles or movie titles is stupid. So get your exclamation points out of here. Lego Party, Lego Voyagers, Mario Kart World, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and Split Fiction. And the winner, of course, was Donkey Kong Bonanza, also a Game of the Year nominee, but we'll get to that later. Best Fighting Game: 2XKO, another dumb title. Capcom Fighting Collection 2, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, and Virtua Fighter 5 REVO, or Revo, World Stage. I didn't play any of these games. Out of this list of 5, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves had my interest earlier in the year, but like with many other games, you can't play them all. Didn't get around to actually checking it out. But it looks cool, and one day I'll probably check it out. And it is the winner of the category, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, the best fighting game. Next, Best RPG: Avowed, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Monster Hunter Worlds, and The Outer Worlds 2. Out of these, I, of course, played Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I also played 2 of Obsidian Entertainment's 3, well, technically 2 because Grounded was it a full 1.0 for Grounded 2 this year? Nevertheless, they had 3 like kind of game releases, really 2 if we're really getting technical. But I did play Avowed, and I did play The Outer Worlds 2. I really liked Avowed. I liked The Outer Worlds 2 a little less so, but I still enjoyed my time with it. But Avowed, I really did enjoy. I wanted to play Kingdom Hearts 2 this year. Not Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And I believe in January, I started playing the first game. Got maybe like a third into it before dropping it. And the plan was to play the first, because these are extremely long games. They're like 80-hour games or more. They're extremely long. They're extremely obtuse in their game designs. They, with all like the things that you have to manage, they really put you in that world that way. And I wasn't like the biggest fan of it. I appreciated it, but like, you know, having to clean underwear after walking through mud or whatever, like, I don't know. If the games were maybe a little shorter, but the plan was to play through the first game in January, February, and then get around to the second game later, like throughout the summer. But I didn't beat the first game, unfortunately. So I didn't get to play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, a Game of the Year nominee and a Best RPG nominee. However, the winner for Best RPG was Clair Obscur Expedition 33, the first of many wins for Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and deservedly so. The game's incredible. Also, shout out to Obsidian for having 2 AAA RPGs in the same category this year. I'm not sure that's ever been done before, so congrats to that team. They do amazing work. Best Action / Adventure: Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Hollow Knight Silksong, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which is really nice to see because it was one that came out last December 7th, I believe, of last year, and it missed cutoff. And so this isn't the only category it's been nominated in, but it's really nice to see Indiana Jones get some love here a year later, considering that game blew my mind. It was my second favorite game of last year, behind Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, of course, but Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and Split Fiction. But the Best Action / Adventure game, Hollow Knight Silksong. I did not play Hollow Knight Silksong many years ago. About 2 or 3 years ago, I tried the first game, and it just didn't click. Like Kingdom Come Deliverance, I wanted to play the first game because I knew Silksong was on the way, but couldn't really get into it. And so I had considered starting Silksong when it came out this year anyway, and just kind of skipping the first game for now. But I read that that's not advisable, and that you should really play the first game first and then the second. So I held off on it, and there were also tons of other games coming out in September that had my attention anyway. And Silksong is, from what I hear, a pretty long game. So in the future, down the road, maybe I will check out both these games. But congratulations to Hollow Knight Silksong for being the Best Action / Adventure game. Best Action Game: Battlefield 6, Doom: The Dark Ages, Hades 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Of course, I did play Battlefield 6. I played Doom: The Dark Ages. Liked it quite a bit. Not as much as Eternal from 2020, but still really, really solid game. I played Shinobi Art of Vengeance as well. Great game there. And Ninja Gaiden 4, I'm planning to play it in a couple weeks. And so I'm excited to see it be nominated here for Best Action Game. I played my first Ninja Gaiden game. Actually, that's not true. I played a little bit of like this game called Ninja Gaiden Z, whatever the hell the full title is, many, many years ago. But my first full Ninja Gaiden experience was earlier this year, actually. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. which was shadow dropped in January after an Xbox Developer Direct event. And then, of course, it's the year of the ninja for Team Ninja and Ninja Gaiden. And I also played Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, the pixel art 2D kind of platformer that came out over the summer. That was really cool as well. And I'm ready to complete the Triple Crown in a couple of weeks and get into Ninja Gaiden 4. But the best action game was not Ninja Gaiden 4. It was Hades 2, another indie game that I didn't play because I didn't play the first game. And I know these games are hugely, wildly critically acclaimed, like Hollow Knight Silksong, like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And it sucks that, I just never found the time to get into the first game, and so I didn't play the second game. And I'm glad to see these games having so much success, but I'm just like, damn, I wish I was on the train for these for some of these games. But congratulations, Hades 2, for being the best action game. Next, best VR /AR game: Alien Rogue Incursion, Arcane Age, Ghost Town, Marvel's Deadpool VR, and The Midnight Walk. I'm not a VR guy or an AR guy, but I did see that Alien Rogue Incursion got a console release, just a normal, regular console release this year, I believe. And I had my eye on it. I was going to play it, but I ended up not playing it. So, but it didn't win. The Midnight Walk is your best VR AR game of the year. Next, best mobile game: Destiny Rising, Persona 5 The Phantom X, Sonic Rumble, Uma Musume Pretty Derby, and Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves, of course, the Player's Voice Award, but it did not take home Best Mobile Game. Instead, Uma Musume Pretty Derby did. Best Debut Indie Game, which many years ago, it was sponsored by Subway Eat Fresh for the Fresh Indie Game category. No sponsor this year for the Best Debut Indie Game, but the nominees were Blueprints, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Despelote, and Dispatch. And originally, you may say, hey, those are only 4 nominees, whereas the 5th one, Megabonk, was the 5th nominee, but they withdrew their nomination because something happened. So the Debut Indie, of course, is highlighting for an indie studio's first video game. The studio of Megabonk, I don't know their name, they released a game a couple years ago, changed their name to what it is now, and then released Megabonk. And so the Game Awards nominated them, I guess, without realizing that the studio had a name change and that Megabonk was not the studio's first game after all. So the studio withdrew their nomination and left only 4 nominees up for the win. I played Blueprints this year. Blew my mind. I couldn't stop playing it earlier in the year. I actually recently revisited it a couple weeks ago. Still haven't been able to beat it. I know I could look up a guide, but I want to do it the right way. And so I'm still kind of chewing on that one on and off. But one of my favorite games of the year, I believe. I also played Despelote. I think it has one of the best endings in a video game this year, if not ever, of what I played. An ending. I didn't love the game. It's a very, very short game. It's like 2 hours long, and you could play it. You could beat it a lot quicker than that. But the ending was by far the strongest part of that game. It kind of blew me away. But Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is the winner of the best debut indie game. Next, the best independent game: Absolum, Ball X Pit. And yes, I pronounced the X. I hear this game be called Ball Pit. There's an X there. The X is not silent. All right. Blueprints, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Hades 2, and, of course, Hollow Knight Silksong. What do you know? Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is your best independent game of 2025. Good to see other indies like Absolum and Ball X Pit get some highlights with nominations in Best Independent Game, but it's Claire Obscure's day. Best Community Support: Baldur's Gate 3, the Game of the Year winner 2 years ago, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky. I don't really have a horse in this race. I'm not even sure who I voted for. I probably voted for Helldivers 2 because they finally brought that to Xbox, and I did jump into that and check that game out a couple months ago. But Baldur's Gate 3 had the best community support this year. Next, the best ongoing game, Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, Marvel Rivals, and No Man's Sky. Here, I believe I picked Marvel Rivals just because I like Marvel Rivals a lot. I haven't played much recently. I know they added a ton of new characters, and so I'm excited to jump back in and check out all. Like Rogue, they just put out. Blade is out there. And there's some Marvel Rival news in the announcements portion of this video as well. Hold your horses. But No Man's Sky won Best Ongoing Game. Games for Impact, I think this category is absolutely stacked this year. Maybe the best Games for Impact category that we've ever had in the 10, 11 year Game Awards history. All right, the nominees were Consume Me, Despelote, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, South of Midnight, and Wonderstop. Now, out of these 5 nominees, I only did not play one of them, which is Consume Me. I played all the others. Of course, I played Despelote. But the other 3, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, from Don't Nod, right? A kind of spiritual successor to Life is Strange, that kind of narrative adventure game I really liked this year. That kind of 90s vibe and just an incredible feel to a game. South of Midnight, I also really loved this year. And Wonderstop, I quite enjoyed. 3 games that I mean, some of my favorite games of the year we're talking about right now. Okay, Wonderstop, blew me away. And of course, I brought up South of Midnight, the music, the art style of that game. I love Compulsion games, and this is by far their best game out of 3. It's their 3rd game. This is by far like the one that's like, holy shit, this is South of Midnight's a special game. And it's special enough that it took home the award for Games for Impact. Congratulations, Compulsion Games. Innovation in accessibility. Assassin's Creed Shadows, Atomfall, Doom the Dark Ages, EA Sports, FC26, and South of Midnight. Glad to see Assassin's Creed Shadows get a shout out here. I did quite enjoy that earlier in the year. Never got a chance to play Atomfall. I wanted to back in like April, May, but I too much going on there, and it didn't take priority. But Atomfall gets the shout out, and of course, nice seeing South of Midnight up for another award. But Doom the Dark Ages won Innovation in Accessibility. Congrats to Doom and id Software. I love Doom. Really liked the Dark Ages. Glad to see it win an award. Best Performance. This is a stat category, especially for one game especially. We've got Ben Starr as Verso in Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Charlie Cox as Gustav in Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Erika Ishii as Atsu in Ghost of Yotei, Jennifer English as Mael in Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Kanatsu Kato as Hinako Shimizu in Silent Hill F, and Troy Baker as Indiana Jones in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. 3 nominations in Best Performance for Expedition 33. I'm not sure that's ever been done before in Game Awards history, but it has now. My vote here was for Ben Starr as Verso. Expedition 33 has a ton, almost every main character in that game is incredible, and the writing is incredible, but out of all those characters, Verso by far, or not really by far, but Verso was my favorite character in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. And I thought Ben Starr did a phenomenal job. And I'm not going to get into the story. I'll likely be talking about this game in a couple weeks. Okay, that's all I'll say. I also liked seeing Silent Hill F nomination here, and it's not the only one. It has another one, but Silent Hill. Only last month I played my first ever Silent Hill game in Silent Hill 2 because it came to Xbox, and I figured, hey, let's jump in. And Silent Hill 2 blew my freaking mind. All right, what a video game. What an experience. It's definitely going to be up there as one of my favorite games of 2025. Even before I played Silent Hill 2, I had my heart set on playing Silent Hill F. And so playing that game, playing Silent Hill 2, and seeing Silent Hill F get a couple nominations here at the Game Awards, I'm so excited to play Silent Hill F in a couple weeks. Okay, so excited because I loved Resident Evil since Resident Evil 2 Remake came out many years ago at this point. And I've been playing all like the big new Resident Evil releases, and it's so nice to have another franchise like that I'm getting into, this kind of survival horror franchise. I know there are huge differences between Resident Evil and Silent Hill, but it's nice to have like another major survival horror, Japanese survival horror franchise that I'm just now getting into. Shout out Silent Hill F. But the winner of Best Performance, Jennifer English as Mael in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Really, really awesome to see. Mael, I mean, Clair Obscur is Mael's game. Mael and Verso are the two most important characters in that game. And incredible narrative, incredible characters. So shout out Jennifer English for playing Mael. Best Audio Design, Battlefield 6, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, and Silent Hill F. Surprisingly, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 did not win this category. Instead, Battlefield 6 took home the Best Audio Design award. Not surprising. You know, if I think about Clair Obscur Expedition 33, I'm not really thinking about audio design or specific sounds that sound amazing. The parry is really the one that sticks out, but the rest of the sound design doesn't really stand out in any sort of way, in my opinion. Battlefield 6, usually it's like the big blockbuster shooters that typically bring home Best Audio Design, and this year it did. Battlefield 6, congrats. Best Score and Music leveled up by Spotify. Christopher Larkin for Hollow Knight Silksong, Darren Korb for Hades 2, Lorien Testard for Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Toma Otoa for Ghost of Yotei, and Woodkid and Ludwig Forsell for Death Stranding 2 on the Beach. My vote went to Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and Lorien Testard won for Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Another feather in that game's cap. I believe 9 total feathers for Expedition 33. This was one of them. Yeah, I voted for this one, and this game's music is something else entirely. And I thought that also this Game Awards had some really incredible musical performances, one of which the opening performance was Lorien Testard playing Clair Obscur music and coming out with the friggin' guitar, and it was just epic. Also, shout out to the Game of the Year medley this year, was also incredible as always. You know, it always ends up being one of the segments of the Game Awards that I most look forward to each year is that Game Awards medley near the very end of the show before they reveal Game of the Year, and this year was epic. So congratulations, Lorien Testard and Clair Obscur Expedition 33 for winning Best Score and Music leveled up by Spotify. Best Art Direction, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silksong. My vote, of course, went to Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and it won Best Art Direction, so congrats there. A beautiful game, by the way. Best Narrative is up next. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. We're in the home stretch, by the way. 3 awards left. This is one of them. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Silent Hill F. Once again, really nice to see Silent Hill F here. I'm very, very excited to dig into that. Also, nice to see Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 here. You know, when Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was first revealed a couple years ago, what really stuck out to me, and I didn't really know much about the first game. I owned the first game for years. I never touched it. But what really stood out to me in those first couple reveal trailers for the second game was the story, were the characters, and the kind of the cinematics, and it seemed like the game had something really interesting brewing, from a writing standpoint, from a narrative standpoint in those initial trailers. And I thought, oh, this does, because there are a ton of like medieval kind of whether it's games like Chivalry, like these kind of multiplayer online experiences, online games that take place in medieval settings like this that look pretty similar to the Kingdom Come games. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, I don't know much about the first game, but this doesn't seem like one of those. This seems different. This seems like there's a lot of care and attention being put into the narrative, and that the narrative of this game is being like hoisted up as like a defining pillar of it. And so it turns out, yes, in my experience playing about a third of the first game in January, I was like, yeah, the story here is really well done, and I really enjoyed that aspect, that part of it. And so here is the sequel being nominated for Best Narrative, but it didn't win. Can you guess who won? Take a guess. Pause the video for a second, okay? Take a guess, wild guess, who won Best Narrative of 2025? It's Clair Obscur Expedition 33, of course. What are we talking about here? Okay, what are we talking about? Now, I'm not going to get into the narrative, okay? In a couple weeks, I likely will. Again, like I said earlier, I'm going to probably be talking about this game in a little bit more depth, but that fucking narrative, forget about it, all right? Forget about it. Forget about it, and let's move on to Best Game Direction. Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, and Split Fiction. Split Fiction had, throughout the year, been one of the kind of contenders for Game of the Year. It did not get nominated this year, but it is in Best Game Direction. However, it did not take home the award because Clair Obscur Expedition 33 took the fucking award, baby. Come on. We have one category left. Can you guess what it is? It's Game of the Year. Okay, 6 nominees. Here they are. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach. Donkey Kong Bonanza. Hades 2. Hollow Knight Silksong. And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Really cool seeing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 here. Indicates to me that I need to get my ass back into that first game and pick up where I left off. Because yeah, I gotta do that. I have to think, come on, Best Narrative, Game of the Year. I gotta play the second game, and eventually, at some point in my lifetime, I will go back to the first game and see it through. That's not a promise. I'm not gonna make any promises, but my hope is that one day I'll return to it and get to experience that game in its entirety, and of course this game. Again, they're just so long. They're so long. Yeah, my vote went to Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and guess what? It won. Game of the Year is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Congratulations to Sandfall Interactive, their first ever video game. It's so wild. Your first video game that you make as a studio is Game of the Year. That's incredible. I mean, it deserves all 9 or however many awards that it won. What are they going to do next? Who knows? There's a whole conversation that I could have right now about where they could go from here, based on where the game's narrative went. I'm not going to get into that because that's heavy spoilers, and I don't have time for that. We're here to cover the goddamn Game Awards. Those are the awards. Now it's time to move on to the announcements. Tons of game announcements to go through. Lots of exciting stuff. We're going to start with the pre-show, of course. We started with The Free Shepherd coming 2027 to PlayStation 5 and PC. Decrepit is coming to PC. That's kind of like a indie Souls-like, another Souls-like. I know a lot of people out there are tired of seeing Souls-likes all the time. I'm not. And I think that's because I don't try and play every single one of them. I pick my battles, and I enjoy them. So I'm not tired of Souls. Like, keep them coming. All right, keep them coming. Audio Mech is coming to PC. There's a demo out for that now, though. Here I have add ? Written next to this next one because some of these it's hard to tell, as it always is with these Keighley events. Sometimes it's hard to tell whether something's an ad or whether it's an actual trailer or announcement. Guild Wars 2 Visions of Eternity out now. So that could have been an ad. Yeah, so there's that. Escape from Duckov is getting a new region unlocking for PC. That's kind of, I guess, probably a kind of parody type of game of Escape from Tarkov, the popular PC shooter. Pragmata is coming April 24th to Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, PC, and Nintendo Switch 2. Guess what? There's a demo out for that game now. Pragmata is a big AAA Capcom game. It's this kind of sci-fi game. It's been in the works. I think it was announced in like 2020 or 2021. They had like internal delays and this and that. Finally has a release date in April. Really excited to see that. I do want to check that game out. It looks really cool, and it's one that I've had my eye on for a long time. Capcom, I love Capcom, mostly for the Resident Evil games, so it's really nice to see a game like that finally have a release date. Gonna check that one out. Next, Solasta 2 coming March 12th to PC, in parentheses, Steam Early Access. Solasta 2 is kind of like a fantasy CRPG, similar to like Baldur's Gate. Tank Rat is coming spring 2026 to PlayStation 5 and PC. Bradley the Badger is coming to PC. That's kind of like a weird, wacky kind of mascot game with some, I believe, live action elements. Pretty interesting stuff. Then the final announcement of the pre-show, Stupid Never Dies, coming 2026, PlayStation 5 and PC. This one caught my interest. The first part of the trailer was this kind of musical. These two like punk teenagers who are this feels a lot like a Suda51, like Shadows of the Damned, Lollipop Chainsaw type of game. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a Suda51 affiliate or somebody close to him is working on this game. But these two like punk teenagers who are in love. One of them, the guy's like a zombie, and so they're like dancing and singing, and it's really surreal and bizarre. It's something that I would it's right down my alley, this type of thing. And it's like this kind of a character action game, 360 era style like character action game. Looks really interesting. Hopefully it comes to Xbox down the road, but that's coming next year. Now we're in the real show. The pre-show's over. We're done with that. We're done with the pre-show, okay? That's it. It's the real show time, okay? And we started off with a pretty huge reveal, I would say. Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic has been revealed. It is a spiritual successor, I believe that's what they're calling it, to the Knights of the Old Republic games. Obviously, we have that remake coming, that PlayStation 5 remake of the first game on the way. That's been, I think it was announced in 2020. Been a long time in like development hell. Aspire's making it. People don't have a ton of faith in that studio. They haven't been putting out great stuff. But yeah, this is a brand new game being helmed by Casey Hudson, the EA BioWare legend, who's responsible for, I believe, the KOTOR games as well as Mass Effect Dragon Age as well. Or maybe just Mass Effect. I'll put some corrections on screen if I'm wrong. But Casey Hudson, an industry legend, is helming Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic. I have never played the KOTOR games. I'm not really familiar with these games and what they entail or what they're all about. But I am interested in checking out Fate of the Old Republic. It seems like it's at least 2 years away. Probably a 2027 or 2028 game. It's probably really far out there, so we'll see what it turns out looking like in a couple of years. But yeah, I love Star Wars, and this isn't even my favorite Star Wars reveal of the night. I believe this was an incredible Game Awards. A lot to get to. So next, Soulframe Founders. And this one I put ad ? No other information was there about it. It might have just been an ad. Next, John Carpenter's Toxic Commando is coming March 12th to Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC. Then, probably the biggest reveal of the night, and one that put to bed a lot of questions coming into the show. Divinity is Larian Studios' next game, the studio behind Baldur's Gate 3. They have their next game, Divinity. There was this whole statue thing in the desert leading up to the Game Awards, where this like marketing thing for Divinity, it turns out, and this was leaked like a day or so before the show, that the statue was for Divinity. But the internet was all up in arms arguing about what this statue in the desert, what game it was meant to represent, what game it's teasing and whatnot. And people were going back and forth. Is it God of War? Is it X, Y, and Z? It's Divinity. It's Divinity. I've never played a Divinity game. Now, what's interesting about this trailer, by the way, really incredible trailer, like a very like Blizzard-esque, cinematic, gory, disgusting trailer. Pretty disturbing, actually. But yeah, it's not called Divinity 2 or whatever. It from what I can see, it looks to be a Divinity reboot, because there was no subtitle attached. It's just Divinity. So it could be a reboot, or it could be a case where they're revealing that it's a new Divinity game and they're not ready to share the full title because they're not ready to give away what kind of game it is. But yeah, so there you go. There's Divinity coming probably years away at this point, probably like Fate of the Old Republic, probably a 2027, 2028 game if I were to guess. And I did play about a third of Baldur's Gate 3. Actually, I ended up in chapter 2, or in Act 2, before I kind of bounced off of it. So I played a good amount of Baldur's Gate 3, and I would be interested in checking out Larian Studios' next game. Next, For Loop is coming to PlayStation 5 and PC. It looks like some kind of extraction shooter. Coven of the Chicken Foot is coming to PC. That's one where you're playing as a grandmother with chicken feet. It's interesting. All right. Ontos is coming to 2026 to Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, and PC. That one is kind of like this looks like a sci-fi adventure game, like one of those first-person sci-fi adventures, and it has my interest, has my attention there. Game Awards were a couple days ago at this point, so my memory's not as sharp on some of these. I just recognize certain titles, and I was like, oh, I remember liking that trailer, but I can't visualize exactly what the trailer looked like for some of these. Next, Zenless Zone Zero is getting Angels of Delusion update. I don't know what that means. There wasn't, some of these trailers for games like Zenless Zone Zero or the Genshin Impact-like games at the show did not have clear information. So, it was hard to decipher, especially in the moment. I had to go back for a bunch of these games, but even when I went back and paused these end cards, for some of them I couldn't decipher what the hell the information is. So, Angels of Delusion update for Zenless Zone Zero. 2XKO coming to Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 in January 2026. And they also showed off Sheriff Karaman character tease. Whoever that is, I do not play 2XKO. But there you go, coming to consoles. South of Midnight is coming to PlayStation 5 in spring 2026. PlayStation 5 and Switch 2 in spring 2026. This was actually made as part of the South of Midnight accepted speech when it won Innovation in Accessibility. No, it didn't. Wait a minute. Hold on. When it won Games for Impact. So the developer came up and did their speech and then revealed this information. It wasn't a trailer. So I just noted that down. But yeah, South of Midnight, of course, an Xbox first-party game made by Compulsion Games. And it's coming probably, if I were to guess, in April, because that's when the game originally released. So my guess is probably sometime in April for this game to come to PlayStation 5 and Switch. 2, part of Xbox's ongoing initiative, bringing some of its first-party games over to PlayStation 5, and in this case also Switch 2. So cool for all those gamers out there who wanted to play this game but couldn't. Resident Evil Requiem got a brand new trailer revealing Leon Kennedy. It's been speculated about for a long time since Requiem's reveal. I believe it's Summer Game Fest this summer. That Leon's going to be in it, and he's going to, and lo and behold, here he is, the full reveal. This has been leaked in like game art that was leaked, a couple weeks before the show. But Requiem, it's going to be awesome. It's one of my most anticipated games of next year for sure. Now with the reveal of Requiem, they also revealed that Grace Ashcroft, the protagonist that we've been seeing, there are going to be kind of two play styles, which is interesting, where Grace Ashcroft's section of the game is going to be more survival horror, slow-paced, like, creeping around, like Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Village, like that kind of experience. And then Leon, when Leon comes in his sections of the game, Leon, when he comes in, it's going to be more action focused. So similar to Resident Evil 3 or 4, where in Resident Evil 4 he had the fucking kicks and the stabs and all this other shit. Like it's going to be interesting to see how they blend those two. Kind of reminds me of how Assassin's Creed Shadows had a dual protagonist system with Naoe and Yasuke, and how Naoe was the stealth character and Yasuke was the brute who, like, you could charge in and wreck everyone. So it seems like Resident Evil Requiem is kind of going that path with Grace and Leon. It's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Very excited for Resident Evil Requiem. It's, of course, coming February 27th to Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, PC, and Nintendo Switch 2. Next, Order of the Sinking Stars coming in 2026 to PC. This is a game from Thekla Inc., who is run by, now I'm blanking on his name, the creator of Braid and The Witness. I'm going to put his name up on screen because I'm blanking on it. But this is his next game, Order of the Sinking Star. I fell in love with Braid Anniversary Edition last year. It was one of my favorite. It was on my top 10 list, I believe, at number 6 in 2024. Fell in love with that game. That game made me learn about myself a little bit. One of the hardest puzzle games I've ever played, and also one of the best. So very exciting to see his next game. Now, Order of the Shining Star here. When they said his name, and they said, it's Thekla Inc. and the next game, I got excited, but then I saw, and the gameplay looks incredible. It looks very interesting, but they said that it's going to have over 1,000 puzzles. And at that point, I'm just like, all right, I think let's calm down a little bit. That seems wildly overwhelming. Now my interest is wavering a little bit because that is extreme. Do we need over 1,000 puzzles? And, like, is this kind of like a roguelike game where you're not going to see most of those puzzles? Or are you going to need to do 1,000 plus puzzles to beat this game? I don't know. We'll find out. But that seems a little crazy to me. So there you go. Next, Exodus, coming early 2027 to Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC. This is kind of like a sci-fi third-person shooter game. Doesn't really have it looks kind of generic, in my opinion. This isn't the first time we've seen it. But it just doesn't, it's a kind of generic title, generic looking, gameplay-wise and environment-wise, setting-wise, is kind of just basic sci-fi stuff. Hopefully it could grab my interest in the future. It didn't here. But it's going to have a little over a year to grab my interest, as it's coming early 2027, like I said. Next, Warlock Dungeons & Dragons. Got a reveal trailer. It's coming 2027, but there's going to be a gameplay reveal summer 2026. So there you go, Warlock. Really cool looking cinematic trailer. Really cool looking character. I'm not into Dungeons and Dragons. I watched the movie, actually. Very good movie. But I'm not really into the games. I don't really know much about Dungeons and Dragons or any of the video games. But this one looked interesting. I might have to check that out. Next was one of the highlights of the show for me. Screamer is coming March 26th, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I get to that, Really quick, Warlock is coming to Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 and PC. I forgot to mention that. But Screamer coming March 26th, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC. Screamer is a game, I believe it was at Summer Game Fest. Grabbed my attention. It reminds me of Need for Speed Unbound from 2022, where they kind of blend anime and, photorealistic racing. This game is so interesting to me because it looks like a traditional racing game, but the characters are all anime. And not only that, this looks like there's a lot of care being put into this narrative and the characters and the writing. From what I've seen from these trailers, this looks like a narrative first game that has traditional racing game style gameplay. This could be revolutionary. I don't think enough people understand what this game could end up being. I know it's like a reboot of an older franchise. But this looks like something I've never seen before, and it has my interest. It's one of the games coming next year that I'm most interested in checking out and seeing what it's all about. Because if this is what it looks like to me, this could be, and if it is what it looks like and it delivers narratively, this could be an all-timer. People aren't understanding. You know what I mean? What is this game? What is this game? It's like an anime narrative with Need for Speed style arcade racing. Screamer, March 26th. I'm all over that. Okay, I'm all over that. One of the highlights of the show, and getting the release date was huge. Very excited to check that out and see what that's all about. But next, these next couple games are huge. Lots to get into here. Control Resonant got its reveal trailer. This was, I believe, also leaked. Control 2 is real. It's here. Control Resonant is the name, and Jesse's brother is the game. Okay? So this trailer revealed that, of course, Jesse Faden, the protagonist of the first Control game, also showed up in Alan Wake 2 DLC. Briefly, it was an hour-long, if that, DLC episode there in Alan Wake 2, another game I adored. But Jesse's not going to be the protagonist of Control Resonant. It's going to be her brother, the guy in the gray sweatsuit who is trapped in that box. And I have to go back and kind of refresh myself on Control 1's story, but we're going to be playing as Jesse's brother in the streets, the twisted, fucked up streets of New York City, with the Doctor Strange style things where there's buildings hanging from the sky. It's going to be that. It's not going to be in the building the whole game like the first game. And they did a lot. That's not a dig at the first game. They did a lot, art style wise, environmentally. It's a kind of what do they call it? One of those gags where there's a purse or a bag and a clown just takes out chairs and tables from this bag. It's that kind of situation with the Federal Bureau of Control in the first game, where it looks like a typical building from the outside, but then inside it's madness. I love that kind of thing. But we're gonna be out in the city streets in the sequel, and Jesse's brother, I don't know his name, Dylan. It's Dylan, right? He's wielding this cool new service weapon. It's going to be melee combat. Are you fucking kidding me? Is it going to be a Souls-like? Because if it's a Souls-like with melee combat, we might be in for something here. You know what I mean? So, very excited to learn more. And I loved, there was a line in the trailer where Jesse said, or not Jesse, but some kind of entity, weird entity, said, "Your turn," to Dylan as he's coming out of a subway station up on street level. He's it's your turn. That was so fucking cool. I'm really interested to see this and to play it next year. One of the highlights of the show for sure. And there's a lot more that I could talk about with it, but we got to move on to Gang of Dragon. Got a reveal trailer. Gang of Dragon is an ex-Yakuza, I forgot his name, an ex-Yakuza lead out there who split off from Ryuga Gotoku Studio and is making a new game. It's called Gang of Dragon. Not like a dragon, Gang of Dragon. Very cinematic. It's a cinematic CGI trailer, but really cool combat. Really cool. It looks like it looks very Yakuza, just like very classic Yakuza looking, and I'm very excited to see more about it. One of the highlights for sure. And then the Street Fighter movie had a lot going on. It showed a little I guess like a kind of teaser trailer for the movie coming, of course, 2026. No release date. That's interesting. They should have a release date by now. But they brought like most of the cast, like 16 people out on stage, announced them all individually, and they had like a moment or whatever. One of them took a shot at Mortal Kombat, which caused a craze or whatever. But yeah, so I fell in love with Street Fighter 2 years ago with Street Fighter 6, one of my favorite games of that year in 2023. And I've been looking forward to the Street Fighter movie. It looks goofy. It looks crazy. It looks like it could be something absolutely insane. The casting is just bonkers. This trailer, I really liked the energy of this trailer. And yeah, it seems very chaotic in a way that, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's crazy, and I'm looking forward to checking it out next year. But this is the Game Awards after all, not the movie awards. So next up, Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, coming May 29th, new release date for not new, but the reveal of the release date, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, PC, and Nintendo Switch 2. Of course, TT Games, Traveler's Tales Games, is slowing things down after doing like annual Lego games for the longest time. It's been several years since Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Shout out to that game. It was one of my top 10 games of 2022. And Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight is up next. It's this was revealed at the Game Awards, I believe it was, this year. And I was a little disappointed that they weren't going to cover like all the Batman movies in Lego form, like the Lego Star Wars games do, right? Skywalker Saga covers all 9 of those movies, and Lego Batman not going to do that. It would have been cool to see like the Batman segment, or the Dark Knight, Lego version of the Dark Knight, or the old, the '89 Batman. Like, it'd be cool to see each of those movies in Lego form, but it's going to be like kind of just an original story using all the classic Batman rogues gallery and all that in a kind of open world. So that's the other interesting thing about this game is it's in an open world. It's going to play like an Arkham game, and it's also going to have Arkham style action combat. So it's going to be like a Lego Arkham game, really, with an open world. It's going to be very interesting. And so, yeah, I'm excited for that, May 29th. Next, this could have been an ad. This probably was an ad. Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which came out on December 1st. I played that game. I liked it quite a bit. I'm not a huge beat 'em up guy, but I kind of dug it. It grew on me the more I played it. Very, very short game, but I went back and I did a bunch of the achievements, most of them actually, all but one. And in replaying the levels and with all the characters, I dug it a little bit more as I played. But yeah, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, that's just kind of an ad. Next, Rust Mobile is getting its first global test. It's actually live right now. You could also get a Game Awards limited skin for Rust Mobile. Next up, a double whammy of an announcement. Tomb Raider Catalyst is the next Tomb Raider game from Amazon Studios. Is that what the Amazon Games, not Amazon Studio, Amazon Games. Next Tomb Raider is called Catalyst, and we got like the reveal trailer. I believe it's coming for like a more classic Lara Croft look. It's coming in 2027, so a little bit of a longer wait there, to Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC. I love Tomb Raider. I really liked the reboot trilogy, the first 2 games especially. 2013 game and Rise of the Tomb Raider, really, really loved. Didn't like Shadow of the Tomb Raider that much. But it's been a long time since we got a Tomb Raider game, a AAA Tomb Raider game like that. So very excited for Catalyst, and a little bit of a longer wait, 2027. But fear not. Okay, they got us right now because Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis was also revealed for 2026, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC. This is a remake, ground-up remake of, I believe, the first ever Tomb Raider game. I'm going to have to go back and check. But it's called Legacy of Atlantis. There is not a Legacy of Atlantis game. There's not a Tomb Raider game that's called Legacy of Atlantis. So, I believe this is a remake of the first game, which is really, really exciting. I never played the first game, so it would be really cool to jump in. It'll be like an all-new Tomb Raider game, to me at least, and to a lot of people who have not played whatever game this is remaking. So, yeah, double whammy for Tomb Raider 2026, 2027. I'm very excited to get back into some Tomb Raider action. I love the climbing. I love the kind of platforming in these games, and so I'm very excited for these. I love these sorts of third-person action adventure games. So yeah, hell yeah. Next, Forest 3 got a reveal trailer. I believe this is a follow-up to the Forest and Sons of the Forest. Don't know much about those two games, but Forest 3 looked really good. The trailer here looked very interesting. I might check it out if I learn more about it. No other information there, just the reveal. Next, Invisible Versus got a character reveal trailer for Elemental, who's being voiced and played by Tierra Whack. I'm not a big Invincible fan, but yeah, I mean, I'll check this game out if there's not too much happening around it. But yeah, next, Orbitals coming 2026 to Nintendo Switch 2. It's a Switch 2 exclusive. I'm sorry. Invisible Versus, of course, coming April 30th to Xbox Series XS, PlayStation 5, and PC. I forgot that information there. Just how my notes are laid out for this one. Orbitals, like I said, 2026 Switch 2 exclusive. This one was very interesting. It's a co-op game, but it's like this kind of classic-looking, like 80s, 90s anime art style. I really, really like the look of it. Its aesthetic is beautiful. So yeah, that looks cool for all you Nintendo Switch 2 fans out there. Then Wuthering Waves 3.0 is coming December 25th, Christmas Day. All right, that's one of those where it's like the information wasn't clear in the trailer. So yeah, Wuthering Waves 3.0. Next, and these both have ads next to it, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, which I believe is already out, and then Animo, which I believe might already be out. Those are probably ads, because there wasn't any other information that I have written down there. So there you go. Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred expansion got its reveal. That's pretty huge for Diablo 4 players out there. It's coming April 28th. So there you go. I haven't played Diablo 4 since 2023, but I did really enjoy what I played. So there's your next expansion. Next, Marvel Rivals came up and revealed Deadpool. So Deadpool got a whole Marvel Rivals trailer. And it also teased Elsa Bloodstone, which is another character who's joining the game. They're both good. So Deadpool and Elsa Bloodstone both going to join as part of season 6, Night at the Museum, which is the title, which is the name of the season, which was interesting because there's a whole movie franchise called that, and it's not affiliated with Marvel, I don't think. So that's insane. But that season 6 is starting on January 16th. Not sure who's going to come first because they usually start the season with one of the two new heroes, and then midway through they add the second one. So it seems like Deadpool is going to come first and then Elsa later. But yeah, really cool. Deadpool is, of course, one of the most popular Marvel heroes, especially in the last decade. And it looks like he's going to have like a more classic look with like the little mask wisp on top of his head. Which Marvel Rivals kind of does that for a lot of its heroes, a more classic comic book look for their heroes. They're not really keeping them like up to date, like from like the movies. I like that, and I really got to get back into Marvel Rivals. I've been itching to get back into it, but there's been so many other things going on. I gotta probably this holiday. I'll probably boot it back up and check out the newer heroes and get ready for season 6, January 16th. So there you go. Next, 007 First Light got a new trailer revealing Lenny Kravitz as the villain Bauma. It's coming March 27th to Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, PC, and Nintendo Switch 2. That's one of the bigger games coming out, bigger AAA games coming out next spring. I'm not that interested. I mean, I really loved Hitman 3, which is IO Interactive's previous game. But yeah, I mean, I'll have to see a little bit more before I'm really sold on it. But yeah, I'm not like the biggest 007 James Bond fan, so we'll see about that one. But yeah, Warframe came out and reminded gaming fans that that's still going on. Then the 7 Deadly Sins Origin is getting its grand launch, not a launch, grand launch, January 28th for PlayStation 5. Next, Lords of the Fallen 2 got a gameplay trailer that's coming 2026 to Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC. Lords of the Fallen 1 came out, the original came out in 2014, but the reboot was 2 years ago, and I didn't like it, okay? I had my reasons. I talk about it. It was one of my least favorite games of 2023, and I talk about it in my top 10 video. I really did not like the first this rebooted Lords of the Fallen, and so seeing the Lords of the Fallen 2 pop up and get revealed in all these trailers, I'm not interested in Lords of the Fallen. I had serious problems with the first game, and it's not going to be a priority. The sequel is not going to be a priority for me next year. I likely won't get around to it, and I don't really want to get around to it unless there are some like vast improvements that fix my issues with the first game. I don't know. We'll see. But speaking of the first game, Lords of the Fallen version 2.5 is out now. So like a new update for the first game. They keep updating that first game and keep like adding new stuff and stuff. So that's cool. But that's out now. Next, Saros got a new. Is it Saros or Saros? Saros. Okay. New story trailer. That game is coming April 30th. I believe that's the reveal of that. The first time we're seeing that release date. But April 30th to PlayStation 5. That's, of course, a PlayStation 5 exclusive, as Returnal was back in 2021. Returnal's on PC, I believe. So, but I believe Saros will be a PlayStation 5 exclusive for some time before it comes to PC. Next, No Law got a reveal trailer, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC. This, I believe, was my game of the show, because for those who aren't in the know, No Law is made by a developer named Neon Giant, who released their first game in 2021 called The Ascent. The Ascent, an isometric twin-stick shooter set in a cyberpunk world. I fell in love. I adored this game. I fell in love with this game. It was my 4th favorite game of 2021. One of my favorites of the generation so far. Like it really, really blew me away. Not really narratively, if I remember correctly. It was more so the environment work, the cyberpunk setting, and of course the twin stick shooting mechanics felt incredible. Just an incredible game, The Ascent. And so Neon Giant is back finally with their next game, their second game, No Law. This is not an isometric game, nor a twin stick shooter, but it is set in a cyberpunk world. It's instead a first-person shooter, if you could believe it. I'm very, very interested to see how this pans out for Neon Giant. Very interested, because I love first-person shooters, but like they're gonna go from twin stick isometric gameplay to first-person shooting, and I'm really interested to see how this game turns out. And I'm really glad to see that it's a cyberpunk setting, but it looks more like bright and daylight. The Ascent was like all dark. It was like constantly dark, like perpetual night kind of. And it was also probably because we were always looking down at the environment as an isometric game. We don't see the sky in that game at all. So yeah, this looks really incredible environmentally, because the first game's environments, or not the first game, but the Ascent's environments were unbelievable. The detail and just how, oh my god, that game felt alive when you were walking through those environments and going to the different levels and using the train stations to get around. Like, that game was unbelievable with its environment work. And so far in this trailer for No Law, the environment work looks just as good. So very excited for No Law. No release window was attached, so this could end up being a 2027 game or later, 2028, or whatever it might turn out to be. But hopefully it's a 2026 game, because if it is, it's going to be my most anticipated game of the year. I adore this studio and what they did with the Ascent. Really, really cool trailer for No Law. Very, very much looking forward to learning more and seeing more of No Law. But we got to move on to Where Winds Meet, because it's getting an Imperial Palace expansion in 2026 to, of course, PlayStation 5 and PC. Also, game is now on mobile, apparently. Phasmophobia is coming to Switch 2 in 2026. Hitman World of Assassination popped up shortly after the 007 First Light trailer to reveal Patient Zero Requiem, starring Mila Jovovich, is a new elusive target in the game. You could play it free starting February 2026. So a new elusive target, Mila Jovovich, who actually came out on stage, I believe, to announce this and to announce a Game Award winner. So there you go. Total War Warhammer 4000, or 40K 4000, got a reveal trailer for Xbox Series XS, PlayStation 5, and PlayStation 5 and PC. This is a big deal because the Total War and Warhammer franchises are coming together to make this new experience. So there you go. Ace Combat 8 Wings of Thieves is coming 2026 to Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC. Now, I've never played an Ace Combat game in my life. I know Ace Combat 7 came out a couple years ago. These are kind of aerial dogfight combat, I guess, simulators. They're close to being like simulator-esque, but it's like this kind of jet fighting and dog fighting in the sky, Top Gun style, with like that green UI and stuff like that. This looked interesting to me because I saw this trailer. There's a lot of, and I don't know if this is true for the previous games in the series because I've never played them. I don't know what they're about. But Ace Combat 8, this trailer, there was a lot of characters. Are these like narrative games here? Like, what's going on here? There's like nightclub scenes and characters talking, and actually really, like, the writing seems strong, and it's not like an afterthought. Like, it didn't seem like the aerial combat gameplay was first. It felt like the storytelling and the narrative was like an important piece to this. So I'm interested in knowing whether this has always been the case, or if Ace Combat 8 is taking this franchise into a new direction, a new, more narrative-focused direction. Because if that's the case here, I'm in the door. Okay, I will play this game. You know, if we're talking about like, similar to what I was talking about with Screamer, of like that having like traditional arcade racing game gameplay, but also this anime storytelling going on as well. If this is gonna go in this direction here, I'm 100% interested. Now, I'm not really interested in I've never been like a fan of dogfighting combat or aerial airplane fighter jet combat like that. But I would fucking play that if it turns out to be what it looks like from this trailer. I'm gonna have to give that trailer another watch and really look at it. But it looked interesting to me. Ace Combat 8 Wings of Thieves. Next, Star Wars Galactic Racer is coming 2026 to Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC. This is what I was talking about earlier, where Fate of the Old Republic. This is the second Star Wars game reveal, a major one in the Game Awards this year. So this is like a pod racer. It looks like it's going to play like an arcade racer. It looks like it's going to be Need for Speed, but with fucking Star Wars pod racing, which sounds absolutely fucking incredible. I would love that. Not much. It was a cinematic trailer. Not much else information was really revealed. Kind of reminds me of Star Wars Squadrons back in 2020, a kind of Star Wars dogfighting game, which was really cool. But it's so cool to see these different kinds of Star Wars games coming. I was thinking about this, like, EA had that exclusive Star Wars games deal for like a decade, and now we're starting to see so many interesting. And EA is still doing an incredible job with the Jedi Survivor games, or the Star Wars Jedi games. Survivor 2 years ago was almost my goddamn game of the year. So EA is still doing good things with it with Star Wars, but it's cool to see other studios start making these interesting, like Star Wars Zero Company, that tactics game. I was hoping it was at the show. It wasn't. I'm really excited for that. Right? Fate of the Old Republic. This Star Wars Galactic Racer. Like, it's really cool. Or Star Wars Outlaws last year. Seeing Ubisoft take a swing at it. First ever open world Star Wars game. That was my third favorite game last year. Really, really loved that experience. So it's so cool seeing all these different types of Star Wars game experiences pop up now that EA no longer has that exclusive stranglehold over it. And I'm really, really interested in learning more about Galactic Racer, because I'm in. All right, Out of Words, the new co-op claymation game, got a brand new trailer. It's coming 2026. Still no solid release date on that. Not surprised, because a project like that is such a huge undertaking. Like, I think about Harold Halibut, one of my favorite games from last year, taking years and years. I think that game was developed over the course of 14 years. These kind of claymation projects, they take a very, very long time. So I'm not surprised it doesn't have a solid release date. But it does have a release window of next year. It's coming to Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, PC, and Nintendo Switch 2. That's Out of Words. Next, Duet Night Abyss is getting the Wind Awakening. In quotes, I have December 23, Huashu awaits, end quote. I don't know what that means for Duet Night Abyss. Then Arknights Enfield has, in quotes, worldwide release date confirmed, January 22nd, PlayStation 5, PC, and mobile. Don't know what Arknights Enfield really is. It's another one of those like weird gacha games, I believe. It had like a little baked-in video performance by some shitty band. Phantom Blade Zero got a new trailer coming September 9th to PlayStation 5 and PC. This is a huge deal. Really like a big... Phantom Blade Zero has become like a really highly anticipated game. Gameplay looks really cool. And there's your September 9th release date. Pretty far out there. Typically, the Game Awards, you only see release dates going out as far as like June, right? Or like May or June. Pretty rare to see a September release date at a Game Awards. So, but there you go. Mega Man Dual Override. This is a big deal for Mega Man fans out there. Coming 2027 for Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, Nintendo Switch 2, and I have in parentheses Xbox One ? Because I know they tend to bundle up Xbox One and Series X and S as just Xbox in these end cards. And seeing that PlayStation 4 and Switch 1 were on this end card for Mega Man Dual Overdrive, I wonder if Xbox One is included in the just singular Xbox logo that was there. So we'll find that out later. But next, Super Mario Galaxy Movie got a very, very, very short teaser trailer. That's, of course, coming in April. No solid date for that either. What's going on here? We need dates for these things. You know, if you're going to show up at the Game Awards with a movie trailer, you got to bring a date. Come on. Next, Neo 3 got a new trailer coming February 2026 to PlayStation 5 and PC. It's getting a PlayStation 5 and Steam demo on January 29th, excuse me. So there you go. Neo 3 is like a big deal for all those Souls fans out there. And then our final reveal of the night, a game called High Guard. This is a sort of a hero shooter, like a high fantasy hero shooter by ex Respawn devs, ex kind of Titanfall, Apex Legends devs, I believe. And so yeah, it's people are all up in arms about, oh, it's not like it's not this bigger deal. It's another hero shooter. Was the last reveal of the night is typically like a huge major deal, like an Elden Ring or something of that caliber. Like, this year it's this this new multiplayer hero shooter. So people are upset about that, but it's coming out free to play January 26th, and Jeff Keighley did make a point of that before he went and revealed the trailer. Of like, this might not be like the biggest deal in the world, but it is coming very soon, in just a couple weeks, and it's free to play, coming Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC. When the trailer started playing for Highguard, I was like, oh, okay, but I saw that like the movement looked a lot like Apex Legends and Titanfall, for that matter, where classically, like the gun, when you crouch or slide in Apex, your gun like tilts to the side. Like, I saw a lot of that. It looked very fluid, and it looked like smooth. And I gotta tell you, I'm interested. I could get into like a fantasy style multiplayer shooter like this. I could get it. I know it's not the first of its kind. There have been other like Paladins, I believe, and others. But like, I could kind of get into that. Ex Titanfall, ex Respawn developers making this kind of really smooth, fluid feeling shooter. You piqued my interest, and guess what? It's free to play. Coming out in a couple weeks, January 26th. Why not try it out? Why not give it a shot? That's my attitude towards it. Sure, it's not the biggest game reveal. Typically, the final thing, like I said, but it looks cool to me. I've had other games that were revealed throughout the show, like I really loved. So I'm not up in arms about this at all, and I'm excited to check that out a couple weeks. Now, that was the last official game reveal, or reveal in general, of the show. But when Expedition 33 came up to give its final Game of the Year accepted speech, the developer speaking, I forgot his name, I'll put him on screen, shout out and congratulations, said that there's a new update to the game that's out now. It's kind of like a celebratory thank you update for players coming to Expedition 33. I believe they added like a new zone that you could visit, with new combat challenges and whatnot. So I might actually check that out. That is the 2025 Game Awards. Shout out to all the winners who took home awards, especially Clair Obscur Expedition 33. The night's big winner. Shout out to that Team Sandfall out there for winning the big one. And also, exciting stuff looking ahead. My highlights in the announcements portion, right, of the show. Pragmata, Stupid Never Dies, Resident Evil Requiem, of course. I'm looking forward to Screamer. Control Resonant was incredible. Gang of Dragon, really incredible reveal trailer there. Nice to get the Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight release date. Seeing not one but two new Tomb Raider games. Very, very excited for that. 2026 and 27. No Law, like I talked about, my game of the show. Star Wars Galactic Racer was really cool. And Highguard was also a highlight, I would say, as well. So yeah, that does it for the Game Awards 2025. Incredible show, incredible musical performances. Really, I thought that this show was great. And I know not all of Keighley's shows throughout the years have been home runs, but as of late, I believe almost every Game Awards has been a hit in my eyes. When you get into some of the Summer Game Fests throughout the years, or some of the Gamescom's opening night lives, those can be a little shaky, although recently they've been really solid, if not very good or great. But Game Awards have always been consistently like pretty good. And this year I thought it was great. And so yeah, shout out to all the winners, and thank you for watching. I'm going to be back in a couple weeks with my top 10 games of 2025, so excited to do that. But until then, I'll see you later. Goodbye.